EFC Africa 24, the second chapter of the biggest rivalry in EFC Africa, is about to be written as the middleweight champion Jeremy Smith goes to war with the former champion Gareth McClellan. Plus, the most dominant champion on the continent, Demarte The Wolf Pena, will put it all on the line against the devastating kicks of Elaine Ilunga. This is their journey to the Hexagon.
Jeremy Pitbull Smith!
Jeremy Smith is the EFC Africa middleweight champion. He is one of the toughest and most tenacious fighters in the organization.
The new middleweight champion!
To become the champion has always been one of my dreams. It was a great accomplishment for me.
The win was a highlight of Jeremy's career to date.
Jeremy Smith is the epitome of a mixed martial artist. He is great in every aspect of the sport.
He's 100% skilled, well-rounded. He's a complete fighter. He's a professional.
Fighting is my life. I love it. It's the best thing ever.
Oh, and he slips down. Smith coming over the top. It's all over! It's all over! Jeremy Smith retains his title!
Jeremy Pitbull Smith, the most ferocious and lethal middleweight that I've ever seen.
Having already beaten all the contenders in South Africa, Jeremy Smith went to the United States to look for new opportunities and challenges. He came up against a top 10 contender in Joe Ray and proved why he is one of the toughest athletes in MMA.
It was my best fight ever. I really had a lot of fun with that one. He chipped my orbital and cracked my cheekbone in the first round, and then I just went off. The XFC still says it was the best fight they've ever seen.
I don't think people can imagine what it's like to have your cheekbone cracked in the first round, fighting in front of thousands of people.
Anyone that can fight a top 10 contender and beat him in his hometown decisively after having massive injuries. Anyone that can do that and then find that grit and willpower to still win that fight convincingly and aggressively, that's a champion to me.
To get him clicked on, you just got to hit him a few good hard times, and then you really got the real Jeremy Smith coming out. And that's how he is when he fights. He puts everything out there.
When Jeremy's done and dusted, he'll still get up and continue. He has that will to do it. He refuses to lose. And this is what makes him the complete all-round athlete that he is.
Just wanted to go there and fight, get my name out and to see how it was overseas.
Gareth McClellan, the former EFC Africa middleweight champion, is by far the most popular athlete in the organization.
Soldier Boy makes his way into the Hexagon. Watch him transform. A fan favorite. They love him.
After losing the middleweight title, he has gone back to the drawing board, completely reinvented himself, and he has swept aside and destroyed every single person in the middleweight division.
With do-or-die performances against Van Heerden, De Bruin, and Maputa, McClellan has electrified fans, proving that nothing will stand between him and the very top of the middleweight division.
There's a hunger inside me that I haven't experienced for a long time. I'm in a situation where I want this bad.
The only thing that's stuck in his mind right now is to get that belt. I mean, there's nothing you can do to stop him.
Gareth's in a good state of mind. He's physically ready. He can fight today.
I will make sure that I execute what I want to execute with 100% perfection.
Soldier Boy is a man obsessed with the title. The only thing he can think about is getting the belt back.
An avid sports enthusiast, McClellan excelled at rugby, nearly going professional, but due to a knee injury, McClellan's dream of professional rugby disappeared. It was then that Gareth was introduced to mixed martial arts by a man named Jason Vorster.
He said to me one day in a conversation that there is an opportunity for me to really do well in the sport. He said I had a knack for it and I should give it a try. Before I knew it, I was really into my first pro fight, fighting a guy like Wade Henderson, who was a massive name at that stage. I came along to FFM and met Richie, and I had an interesting conversation with him the first time that I chatted to him and Chef, and they said to me, what is your goal? What do you want to achieve out of this? And I said to them, I want to be the best fighter in this country. I want to be the champion.
With me understanding better about guys, the individuals, and what works better, I just made a few slight changes that made a big difference.
Everything he does is with 100% intensity, 100% commitment, 100% dedication. Every time he trains, he becomes a better athlete, he becomes a better person.
We just try and help the guys be the best person and fighter that they can be on the day that they step into that cage.
I put numerous hours of blood, sweat and tears into the sport. I believe that I have been a big part of what's grown the sport and changed it and helped it mold into something what it is.
Putting in an aggressive performance in his EFC Africa debut, McClellan immediately made an impact not only on the sport but also on the fans. He went on to dominate everyone placed in front of him, earning himself a shot at becoming the inaugural EFC Africa middleweight champion.
I got the call to say, you know, you will be competing against Jacques Chebet for the title. And I just grabbed it and I ran. We got into the fight, and being an asthmatic, it's something that has affected me my whole life. And I had this asthma attack in the first round, and I remember sitting in the corner and I said to Rich, we've got a problem, you know, I'm having an asthma attack, I can't breathe. And he said, it's not an option. Right now, it's not an option.
Gareth had an asthma attack, he ripped his lungs in the fight, and he still pulled it through all the way to the 4th round. So that should tell people how far he can go to win a fight. It
took me a week or so to realize, hey, you know, I'm the first EFC middleweight champion. And I think that was the biggest lesson that I learned out of it, was that, you know, I'd gone through a large period of my life battling to achieve and what I'd wanted to achieve, and I kept on getting disheartened and down about that. And eventually I could stand proud and say, hey, look, you know, this is something I'd done, and I'd done it all on my own in terms of getting there and doing it.
While McClellan was celebrating his title win, a new force arrived in the middleweight division in Jeremy Smith, making his EFC debut by dismantling Liam Cleland and getting an immediate shot at the sought-after middleweight crown.
It was a bit nervous in that fight. It was, I think, the biggest crowd I'd fought in South Africa.
Jeremy was a lot better prepped than he looked in that fight. He was a little bit tentative, and I think the pressure of the actual event got to him on the night.
I got in there, I was focused, I'd worked hard, and I gave everything. I laid it all on the line. I didn't hold back. I didn't allow myself to worry about what if and what could happen.
In what was seen as one of the best fights on the African continent, both these athletes put everything on the line, and 4 rounds in, McClellan made a crucial mistake that Smith capitalized on to become the new EFC Africa middleweight champion.
I said it the first time, I said that I would have to be perfect and there'd be no mistakes, and unfortunately the mistake came and he punished me for it.
He was up 4 rounds and he was winning the 5th round as well. He made a mistake. MMA is very, very unforgiving sport. To make a mistake could cost you the fight.
Soldier Boy was a great win for Jeremy. It was his coming out party, should we say. I think everybody knew what Jeremy stood for and what commodity Jeremy was before the Soldier Boy fight. That was the biggest fight on the continent at that time.
At EFC Africa 17, Smith made his first title defense against crowd favorite and good friend Darren Daniel, and once again came out on top to successfully defend his champion status.
A lot of people still say you are only the real champion once you have successfully defended your title. Last year in November we saw Jeremy go up against Darren Daniel. Big crowd favorite, a big favorite to win that fight, and Jeremy actually put him away in the very first round.
We prepped very hard for that fight and went in pretty much exactly the way we hoped.
Well, that fight was purely business. There was no emotion in it. Go in there, get the job done. That was it.
I think Darren Daniel's mistake in that fight was that he didn't realize that Jeremy hits back.
We expected him to come forward, to throw kicks, to throw good punches, throw some knees. The one thing we didn't know about Darren was whether he could take a big shot.
He got very comfortable. He got into a zone in the first minute of the fight and he thought he was comfortable in that zone.
Jeremy hit him with a big left hook when he was trying to throw a knee to Jeremy's body. Took him out and then we finished him on the ground.
Joey friend, but it's in a cage. One person walked, well, 2 people walked in, 1 person walks out.
An injury to Smith's hand forced the champion out of action for almost 6 months, but he has since come back stronger and feels confident of successfully dealing with the threat of McClellan.
It's not going to be like the last fight that he had. It's going to be a totally different fight.
I did show him too much respect in the first fight, and I'm not going to show him any respect in this fight.
What do our oppositional camp look at and say, where's Jeremy's weakness when there isn't one?
When he gets in the Hexagon, you know, the training's there, he's prepped, he's ready, and he is calm because he knows he's the best.
Gareth's a good fighter. Let's give him that. But Jeremy is a level above him.
Jeremy's skills are way above Gareth's. Even if he didn't have the heart, his skills are enough to take the fights. Now, having the heart and the skills, it's almost like a no contest.
I'm fighting my fight, I'm not fighting his fight. I'm going there to fight.
Jeremy's going to make a point to make sure that he's going to get the big W, and it's going to be a big one.
And he's coming to redeem himself, so we've got to be on our toes for this. And we will be on our toes. We're ready to go now.
After undergoing major knee surgery, McClellan returned to face the hard-hitting Tumelo Maputa. A 3-round war ensued, with McClellan coming out on top, guaranteeing himself another shot at the middleweight title.
I decided that I wanted another chance at the belt, and that's exactly what I wanted, and I was going to go for it, and nothing was going to stop me.
He's coming off a 3-win streak now. His first 2 performances were technically amazing. He beat 2 big guys. His 3rd performance, he didn't do so well, but at the end of the day, you know, you can't have a good day every day. And right now, we're at the top of the game for him, and he's getting ready to take the title back. So he has to have new skills.
Everyone can see that every time he steps into the Hexagon that he's a different fighter. He's improved, he's got new skills, he's got new tricks up his sleeve.
Gareth's evolved his skills, his stand-up, his ground, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, and his conditioning. We keep evolving, and that's going to be the key in this fight.
He's come from something that he was to a complete different person, and he's got this calmness and this experience about him at the moment that it's unparalleled to anything that any of us have ever seen.
My knees are in fantastic shape, my body's in fantastic shape, and I've put to this stage 9 months of the hardest work of my life to be in the place that I am right now. People are going to see one of the best contested titles this country's ever seen.
Jeremy Smith is the current EFC Africa middleweight champion. He's one of the most tenacious and toughest guys out there, and that is why he holds that belt.
Jeremy came into EFC Africa with international and top-level MMA experience, and it's shown in all of his fights.
A dominant force in the middleweight division, Jeremy Pitbull Smith has annihilated every opponent in the Hexagon and feels his reign as champion will continue for a long time.
I'm the champion, I got the belt. He's got to take it from me if he wants to be a champion, and he's not taking it from me. It's my belt and it's staying with me.
He's got everything that he's got through hard work, and he's not going to let it go, not for anyone.
The former middleweight champion Garreth Soldierboy McLellan has torn through his last 3 opponents and will stop at nothing to get back what he feels is rightly his.
Gareth's had to overcome a lot of adversity in his life, and right now he's in a much clearer headspace and in a much better place than he was a year and a half ago. I believe that could make the difference for him.
For the first time, I'm 100% in tune with myself. I think my mind, my body, and my emotional status is 100% online.
He wants that belt, he's been working hard for it. It's the only thing that's stuck in his mind right now, is to get that belt.
Gareth's in a good state of mind. He's physically ready. He can fight today.
If you wake up on Friday the 11th of October and you have missed this fight, you are going to kick yourself. This fight is as big as it gets.
We don't see ourselves losing anytime.
I have no doubt Jeremy will win this fight.
Well, they can have the ace up their sleeve. We've got the royal flush in Jeremy Smith.
10th of October is going to be a very interesting night, and we'll see how it pans out.
Gareth's ready. Gareth's ready to go 5 rounds, take it to the darkest place he can.
It's going to be the most electrifying experience for the crowd that they have the pleasure of seeing.
Will the Pitbull once again stand victorious, or will Soldier Boy return to the top of the division? It's Jeremy Smith versus Gareth McClellan.
The rematch of the title fight was supposed to happen earlier this year. Both guys suffered injuries on separate occasions, and finally now all roads have led back to Smith and McClellan too.
This is a fight that turns your average Joe into an MMA fan. It's the fight everybody wants and the fight everybody watches.
I have a job to do, and that's the job I will do.
I'm going to catch him, I'm going to put him down, and I'm going to hurt him.
I want this bad.
You're going to see Jeremy Smith come to fight. You see the Pitbull come out, and you see me fight.
He knows exactly what to expect, and he knows what I'm capable of. Exactly like the first time I wore.
At the end of EFC Africa 24, I'll still be champion, my hands will be raised.
The second chapter of the biggest rivalry in EFC Africa is about to be written as the middleweight champion Jeremy Smith goes to war with the former champion Gareth McClellan in the fight that has been a year in the making. Will the champion rise out on top once again, or will Soldier Boy get his revenge on his old adversary? Plus, the most dominant champion on the continent, Demarte The Wolf Pena, will put it all on the line against the devastating kicks of Elaine Ilunga. EFC Africa 24, Pena versus Ilunga, Smith versus McClellan 2. EFC Africa 24, Thursday, 10 October, Carnival City. Tickets and broadcast information at efcafrica.com. Demarte The Wolf Pena, the undefeated EFC Africa Featherweight champion.
At this point in time, Demarte The Wolf Pena is the most dominant champion in EFC Africa.
It's amazing looking back at Demarte's debut to where he is now. He has grown into a true champion.
Taking his first EFC Africa fight on only 2 days' notice, Pena has redefined his strategic and brutal style with every appearance, molding himself into the unstoppable force he is today.
In his last successful title defense, we saw Demarte Pena come out. He was aggressive, he came forward, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Look for the finish and look for the kill.
He wants to finish Abdul tonight. Finish the takedown, picks Abdul up, slams him down. Pena retains his title.
Every fight is just an opportunity for me to prove myself.
Every time he fights the biggest fight of his career.
In his last fight, Abdul got under his skin and we saw an angry wolf step into the Hexagon.
We expected him to quit along the fight, and we didn't think it was going to happen that soon. We wanted to grind him from first round to however long it takes.
His jiu-jitsu wasn't as great as he thought it was, and the game plan worked because he did break.
The one thing we've always seen with Pena is how much better he gets every single time he steps in the Hexagon. He is one of those fighters that just gets better and better and better.
Everything's changed, and it's just from his hard work and determination of training.
Before I was training as an amateur, fighting like a pro, and coming here was the best thing I've ever done for my career. For me, the biggest thing is my willingness to keep going when things are not going well for me. And I really want to win, and I believe I know how to win.
Demarte Pena is still the champion and still undefeated in EFC Africa. It really is going to take something special to get that belt away from him.
He's the undefeated champ 5 times. How can you underestimate a champion like that?
Going for my 5th defense. It's just his first time, and I'm going there to become champion once again.
Demarte had a lot of doubters in the beginning, but nobody questions him now. He is the undisputed featherweight champion.
Demarte The Wolf Pena!
Alain Commander Boy Ilunga, the most dangerous athlete in the featherweight division.
Elaine Ilunga comes from a pure striking background, and he possesses some of the most dangerous kicks in the game.
Big kick fired off by Ilunga. Dura race. Big body kick and another one.
Elaine Ilunga's kicks finish fights. End of story.
Elaine Ilunga has knocked out no less than 2 of his opponents with a single leg strike. Now, having added impressive submissions to his ground game, he sees nothing standing in the way between him and the title.
In the Marcus Talliard fight, we saw him come in and display how good he actually is in the stand-up game. He picked him apart, hit him with tons of body shots, and then finished him with a submission.
People underestimate or haven't seen yet is Elaine take down somebody and pin them down.
He's not just a stand-up fighter, he can go to the ground and finish things there too. That was a wake-up call, and they should take him seriously.
Eloko mingi batu babosa na kayangwa na Elaine Ilunga as a MMA fighter.
When he was landing those kicks on Talliard, it was actually painful to watch.
People think a lot only for Alain's kick. Alain's a good MMA fight. We don't worry about stand-up because we already sorted stand-up.
Oh my goodness!
In the Wesley Hawkey fight, he came in as a big underdog, and he pretty much shocked everyone when he got the victory by submission.
It was a big confidence boost. He got to show a bit of his ground game.
Nazoloba pona santimate pona sepesa public mukolongo ezali eokoma bomona o Alain Ilunga zali na kubeta.
There were a lot of critics before the Hawkey and Ilunga fight, and he came out and he silenced every single one of them, and he proved that he is the legitimate contender.
He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's explosive. I know he has a it takes.
Alain est souvent, c'est un bon travailleur. Il est déjà très dangereux.
He came into EFC Africa predominantly as a high-level striker, and now with those 2 submission victories on his record, he most certainly possesses a great ground game. That is something that's going to scare the rest of this featherweight division.
They're in for a surprise. It's definitely going to be a ground battle. He's going to be on top, and he's going to be grinding and pounding.
So expect fireworks in that night.
Elaine has been the surprise package in the featherweight division. Is he going to spring another surprise in his upcoming title fight?
Alain Commander Ilunga!
At EFC Africa 24, the continent's 2 best featherweights will go head-to-head as the undisputed, undefeated featherweight champion Demarte The Wolf Pena puts his title on the line against the lethal kicks of the DRC-born Elaine Ilunga.
He's going to fight smart, but he's super aggressive now, and he's going to come and bring the fight to Ilunga.
He wants to be the aggressor, and he wants to be the one pushing the pace on the other guys, and he doesn't necessarily like to get hit.
Ilunga poses a different kind of threat, something that Pena has never faced before.
I don't think Pena has faced an athlete like Elaine. I think he's in for a surprise because he's fighting a different level of athlete.
As the best fight that has a chance. Alain Ilunga.
The one thing Pena is not going to be in this fight is a punching bag. It's going to be interesting to see how Ilunga is going to deal with that pressure when he comes forward.
I'm going to put the pressure down. He won't be able to deal with what Demarte's going to throw at him.
I will put the pressure on him. We'll see how he handles when he's getting hit.
They think he's one-dimensional. They're making a big mistake because he's coming in there. He's going to take Pena down. He's going to hurt him.
It's not a question of if he's going to take the belt, it's a matter of when he takes the belt.
Will the Wolf keep his undefeated record intact, or will Commander Boy get his hands on featherweight gold? It's Demarte Pena versus Elaine Ilunga.
In the one corner, we have the reigning defending champion Demarte Pena. He's done it all. He's faced a ton of different opponents. On the other side, we've got a little bit of an unknown entity, but the big thing is Elaine Ilunga can take away that title with one single strike. That should be something that'll be in the back of Demarte's mind.
Elaine Ilunga is Demarte's biggest threat to date, and he might just possess the key that unlocks the Pena puzzle. That's what makes this fight so interesting.
It doesn't matter what he decides to do, you know. It's about what I need to do on the night.
But no survivor, public obalinga ngai, baba keno, Alain Ilunga, as a new champion and EFC 24.
I have absolute no doubt that that belt will still be mine.
This is my time.
Two heavyweights collide as the former heavyweight champion Ruan Potts squares off against the hard-hitting DRC boxing legend Ricky Micholas.
Potts is a natural-born athlete and one of the biggest stars in EFC Africa.
In a career spanning 15 years, Ruan Potts went undefeated, claiming the EFC Africa heavyweight title after only 2 appearances in the Hexagon. At EFC Africa 18, in a rematch against Andrew van Sale, he lost his title and vowed to take it back.
Even though he lost his title to Van Sale, in that fight we saw a different Ruan Potts. He was actually outstriking Andrew from pretty much everywhere, and it forced him to take the fight to the ground. It went the full distance, and for a heavyweight fight, that's something you do not see. In the end, it was a really close fight.
Definitely hurting, no doubt. Now he's got the body clasp. Gonna look for that trip again. Big exchange in that.
Ruan Potts believes he is the best heavyweight on the continent, and he feels it's only a matter of time until he gets his title back. Ricky Micholas is one big, bad dude. He's only got one thing on his mind, and that is knocking you out.
A boxing superstar from the Congo, Micholas has made his fists count in every one of his 4 Hexagon appearances. He has proved that once he connects, no man can stand with him. He has vowed to knock Potts out.
We saw in his fights with Wilhelm Strauss and Paul Kitzman, when he lands that right hand, it's all over.
That one hurts him though. Another big one. That's all over. Big uppercut.
In his fight with Soares, we saw a 3-round war, which is something you don't generally get with heavyweights. He dropped Soares in the first round, and from there he really tried to finish. It was a crazy fight.
Ricky wants to show that he can beat the best in the division, and here's his chance against Ruan Potts.
Will the former champion get the W that will take him to the title shot, or will the Apocalypse get the big KO victory? It's Ruan Potts versus Ricky Macholas. The second chapter of the biggest rivalry in EFC Africa is about to be written as the middleweight champion Jeremy Smith goes to war with the former champion Gareth McClellan in the fight that has been a year in the making. Will the champion rise out on top once again, or will Soldier Boy get his revenge on his old adversary? Plus, the most dominant champion on the continent, Demarte The Wolf Pena, will put it all on the line against the devastating kicks of Elaine Ilunga. EFC Africa 24. Pena versus Ilunga. Smith versus McClellan 2. EFC Africa 24. Thursday, 10 October, Carnival City. Tickets and broadcast information at efcafrica.com.